Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dota 2 Builds of the Week, the weekly series where I show you guys top 5 meta builds in each position to help you get started with new heroes in Dota 2. I'm Alex, and as a reminder, all the builds I'm going to mention today are linked in the description down below if you want to follow them in the Steam Workshop. And today we're starting with position 1 Medusa. Medusa is a hero that has been always in the meta, but is sometimes a little stronger, sometimes a little weaker, and right now she's in a pretty good spot. The build for Medusa is relatively straightforward. What you're doing is you're loading up as many stats as you can. In terms of the main meta progression, you are definitely going power treads into Manta. Once you have your Manta down, because you want the Manta illusions in order to farm unsafe areas, and you want the stats provided by the Manta as well. From Manta, you will be going into Dragonlance, which will allow you to start fighting. And then finally, Scotty is your major time in which you are now online. Once you have these 4 items, you're ready to fight. Good extension items, Agnum Scepter, Hurricane Pike, and Satanic, which makes you borderline unkillable, are important. With regards to the actual skill build, it's important to understand that Medusa is built a little differently. You don't actually take Stone Gaze at level 6. You actually delay it. You focus on getting as much laning and then farming capabilities as you can, and then taking Stone Gaze later, about level 11, when you intend to actually start engaging in team fights. You can take it earlier if you need to use it as a timely escaper to make some space, but generally speaking, you're pulling off on a little bit, focusing on farming, and getting huge as Medusa. In position 2 mid, we're talking about Leshrac. Leshrac is one of those heroes that has a tremendous impact at all game levels because of his ability to push objectives very effectively. Now, the build is relatively straightforward. What you're doing here is you're taking some stats up front, you're taking a bottle early for regeneration, you're finishing your Null Talisman, and then you're taking Arcane Boots. Mana is a major factor for Leshrac. Finally, you're going Yule Scepter of Divinity. Not only does it give him the movement speed and the mana that he generally really appreciates, but it allows for a setup with a Yule's into Split Earth, which can allow you to kind of stun lock enemies to some degree of success. From there, a Kaya into a Bloodstone is kind of like the core meta build right now, and then you when you need to finish your Soul Booster, you disassemble the Arcane Boots, and then you build a Boots of Travel. So this is kind of like the staple build. Bloodstone makes him extremely difficult to kill, and the Boots of Travel allow him to push very effectively with Diabolic Edict. Now, with that being said, there are some kind of adjustments to the way this build is done as well. Instead of going Kaya into Bloodstone, you can go Kaya into Kaya Sange, which is also an excellent item as well. Do not underestimate the value of Eternal Shroud on someone like Leshrac, especially against very magic-intensive damage lineups, BKBs. His Shard is like a crowd favorite. Its effectiveness can be argued, but if you're behind, you pick up the Shard. It creates a very good high ground defense mechanism. And overall, Shiva's Guard is a great item on Lesh as well because he likes to be right in the mix of the fight. But overall, an absolutely fantastic hero and one that's great for relatively new players learning mid. One of the staple heroes of the Offlane is Sand King. Sand King is one of those heroes that's always relevant in the meta simply because he has a stun, he has a lot of utility, and he has a fantastic team fight based ultimate in Epicenter. The build revolves around taking as much stats as you can in the early game to secure some last hits, utilizing Cosmic Finale to some degree of success, but also building into a Ring of Health, into Soul Ring, so that you can utilize your skills with great effectiveness. From there, you're going into Brown Boots, and you're going to stay there for a while as you complete something like a Hood of Defiance. This could even be a Vanguard if you're against right-click heavy lineups. At the end of the day, you want some sort of sustain item to help you survive. Blink Dagger, because you want to blink into Epicenter. I should actually correct myself. You're going to Epicenter into Blink. It's very important, especially when you're new to the game. You cast Epicenter first. It has a cast point of 2 seconds. Once it starts kind of casting, you blink into the location. That's kind of, because if you blink in then try and cast it, you're basically vulnerable for 2 seconds. Yule Scepter Divinity, very important on this hero because it provides you with a basic dispel. So if you're in Sandstorm and you're invisible and they reveal you, you can use Yule Scepter to keep the Sandstorm running while dispelling you of the dust, keeping you invisible. A very useful item on Sand King. It also gives them the movement speed and the mana regeneration, which is obviously very useful as well. And the Boots of Travel are great because, especially with the way we've skilled this, it allows you to make good use of Sandstorm. You travel somewhere, you take some waves, you use Sandstorm to kind of create some issues, you get out, and you keep pushing. Extension items for him, Lotus Orb, extremely popular. You can use Lotus Orb instead of a Yule Scepter to dispel yourself in the event that you are dusted. Because he's always in the fight, Shiva's Guard, BKB. He has a fantastic, Agnum Shard as well. I shouldn't say fantastic. It's good enough, right? So if you have some extra money, it's good. Agnum Scepter is great on Sand King, but remember, if you're going to be going the Agnum Scepter, you might want to consider taking the 1520 talent because of the Cosmic Finale benefits that the Agnum Scepter provides. So an absolutely fantastic position 3 hero. Now we're off to position number 4. Tusk is in a really interesting spot right now. He is a great position for in many pro level games. You're seeing him picked quite often. However, the problem with that is that everywhere else he's a little weak. He's a little undertuned right now in the expectation that he will be buffed soon, but he is a very prototypical staple position 4, so I thought perhaps that we should cover him in the event that there are those that want to learn him. But he is a little weaker than I usually like covering in this list. Win rates hovering around like 50 to 49, 48 percentile range. But this is the build, and overall what you're doing here is you're working on setting up kind of like a repositioning, repositioning enemies is kind of your main goal as Tusk 4. What you're doing is it's, starting items, brown boots into Tango, little greedy, but it works for a melee position 4. You're going to do a Urn of Shadows, just overall extremely valuable, into Blink, because you want to blink into Walrus Punch, which allows you to kind of set up combos for your team. Most importantly, however, you want to build this Agnum Scepter. What it gives you is it gives you Walrus Kick. So what you can do is you can Blink Dagger, Walrus Punch someone, and then Walrus Kick them out of position into your waiting team's arms. Really fantastic hero to kind of reposition heroes with good effectiveness. And the extensions of this is, of course, you can build a Spirit Vessel, which is a natural progression of the Urn of Shadows. But Solar Crest, a great item for Tusk because it allows him to kind of sustain early because of the amount of armor it provides. He doesn't really need the right-click damage as a support, as you're basically using your skills to greater effectiveness. And it's just overall an excellent item on him, right? So that's also a great choice. And if you want the added survivability and you're a little rich, BKB. The Shard's also very good as well. Great for catching enemies and just kind of pounding them out of existence. But overall, a little greedy on the Shard. Ideally, you want to complete, a core item like an Urn of Shadows or a Solar Crest with Blink and Ags, and you are golden. Lich continues to be one of the absolute best heroes in Dota 2. As a position 5 support, he has a tremendous win rate across all levels of MMR. And I actually did a complete full beginner's guide on him, so if you are new to Dota and you're interested in learning him from scratch, I'm going to link it up above so you can watch that complete video. But overall, the new modern build is exactly this. What you're doing here is the skill setup is relatively straightforward. You're taking one of each early because all 3 of his skills has some significant value, maxing Frost Blast and then Frost Shield, taking value points to Sinister Gaze later on. You want to team fight around your Chain Frost. It's an absolutely fantastic team fight ability, so definitely use that to your advantage. And of course, I do also recommend that you utilize your skill tree with regards to prioritizing Frost Shield, as it is a tremendous value for your allies. So definitely focus on the Frost Shield there. In terms of starting items, you want to generate as much mana as you can. He really struggles with mana early, so you want to bring some mana regeneration items. Sinister Gaze just doesn't give quite enough mana early on, and unfortunately you can't really rely on it in the laning stage. So you want to do mana into Tranquils. Not Arcane Boots. You could go Arcane Boots with Tranquils because of the amount of intelligence gain he gets. Mana quickly becomes a non-issue into the mid-game, so Tranquils just gives him that added movement speed, gives him that added sustain to the HP regeneration as well. He has no escape, so Glimmer Cape is super valuable on him, and the Shard and Agnum Scepter are truly remarkable. Overall, Lich continues to be an absolutely fantastic position 5. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next Dota 2 video.